Hi there and welcome to my 9th tutorial on Java, and in this tutorial I'm going to talk about arrays. Array is a set of different values which are placed in one variable-like structure. So array can be of, for example, integer type, and we can have 10 integers in that one array, 10 different values we can assign to different indexes of an array. Array uses indexes to enter different parts of this array, different memory parts. So simply, array is like a variable with extended range, so it's not limited to just one value. Like with integer we can have just one value, but we can have many values and different values as well. So it's not just limited to one value like integer, like normal integer or byte or string. Even strings also are able to produce arrays are also able to produce strings. So we can also have a couple of strings in one place in one array. Now, to declare the array, we state the type of the array like we do with variables, pretty much, and then we have to add this range specifier, which is a square bracket. I will show you this. So we have integer, for example, which is the type, and we have a square bracket which indicates the array. Then we have name, simply number, for example, and that equals to, and new integer and square bracket in which we state our range. Now the range can be 10, 20, 55 to 1 even. It doesn't really matter what type of range you add. It will be the range which is the limit of how many values array can have, how many indexes. Now if I say 5, for example, my indexes start from 0. So first index is 0, then 1, 2, 3 and 4. So last index is not 5. You have to remember that, as this is very crucial. Most of the people do this mistake while programming first time, for example, and so they try to assign to the 5th index, which is not existent in this case, for example. So you have to remember the indexes start from 0, then 1, 2, 3 and 4, and whatever number you have declared here, like 5, it will be up to 4. So you have just simply your indexes are up to this number minus 1, simply. So that's your indexes. Now to add some kind of value to your array, to your index, specific index, you write the number, the name of the array, and you have the square bracket, and you specify the index inside, from 0 to 4 in my case. So for example, if I say 0, that is equal to, let's say, 20. Oops, 20. Like so. So now this index in my array will contain the value 20. All of those other indexes like 1, 2, 3 and 4 will have no value at all. So if I print out the array, you will see only 20 and the rest of them will be null, simply. So that's how you use the array basically. This is the assign statement, but it's not limited to just this one. You don't have to do it like this. If you want to assign the values straight ahead, you don't have to do it like this, because you may have a lot of integers, for example 20, and each time you have to write this line and number, specify the index and then specify the number, and each time 20 times, like so. It's not sufficient. So what you can do is, instead of this, you can do something like this: 3, for example, 4, 6, 7, 9, let's say, and this. So now this array will also contain 4 indexes from 0 to 4, 5 values, and indexes start from 0. So this one is 0 index, this one is 1, 2, 3 and 4. So it's pretty much the same thing, but you always have the value already declared inside, and you have the range specified by the how many values you have in this bracket. So this is the second way you can assign some values to your array. But this is the hard values, as you do, for example, with databases. You may add with the string, for example, some words and then use them later on. But if you require some kind of input to the array, you can ask with the statement like num index, and for example specify the number by user. Let's say variable user enters something and you simply pass it to this array, to this index. So that's how you create an array, So as you can see, many ways of doing this. And I don't know if this will work actually, because you can also specify the create the array without, yeah, it works, without the range. Now that means you have no range limited, like so basically you can create, for example, you can say number 0, for example, which is first index, equals 10. Then you can say the next number, oh wait, I have to initialize it. Probably. Let me just see this one here. So number 2 or 1 equals, for example, 20, and just let's print this array. To print the array, you mostly will use for loop, because the array will have probably more than one element. There's no need to, for example, declare the array if you just use it for one variable, for one index. There's no point. You can just use simple variable. So if you want to print it out, so int I, for example, equals 0, and I is less than 2, and I plus plus, oops, plus plus, and you have actions. Okay, so I will just say how to print out the array. So you say system.out print line like this, and number I. So basically this will print out the number, and you can use variable to print out the index. It's not limited to just number. You don't have to specify the hard value, but you can add a counter, for example. It's counter for the loop. You can you can add the counter as an index, and each time the loop goes around, it does a repetition, and the counter will increase as well as the index. So if I print this out, come on, exception. Yeah, maybe because that's why. In C++, I think you could use it like this. That's why I don't remember if you could use it in Java. If you learn a couple of languages at the same time, you get confused. But nevertheless, there is a way. I think with normal integers and stuff like this wouldn't work. Probably with objects, but I'm not going to show you objects today, as this will come with the classes actually. So, nevertheless, don't use this example. This is wrong. Yeah, you have to specify new int and the range. So 2, for example. Yeah, this time it will work actually. Yeah, so you 10, 20. So you have to actually create a new integer. Nevertheless, this is how you create an array. This is how you assign those values. You can also, as I showed you, you can assign them straight ahead when you create an array without this. Simply open and close the curly bracket, and inside specify your values or strings, whatever you have. So that's how you create it. That's how you assign it. Now this is how you print it. This is how you can print out the array if you need to. And you can also use the for loop statement for a input. So for example, you have a scanner. Let's delete this. Let's have a scanner. Input equals new scanner. System dot in. Okay, so let's have a new scanner, and now input. Okay, I will use input here. Input. Oh, I have to have a variable actually. Sorry. Int number 2. Let's say. Okay. So number 2 is equal to 2 is equal to input dot and next int. So I will get the integer, and then I can assign it like this. And number with the index, so I will specify by I, equals to a number 2. So each time user enters some kind of number, it will be assigned to this one, then it will be printed out. So I will be asked for input, for example, 23, and 23 is printed out. And 34, for example. So that's how you can print out your array. Of course, you can ask for, you can do it in while loop as well, so it's not limited to for loop. But mostly for loop is used if you want to print out your array. If you want to do some more with it, for example, add some kind of statements like if statement and such, you will simply add those in while loop probably. And nevertheless, this is how you create it. You can, as I said, you can also add the hard values. You can also input it like this, so it's not limited to just one type of statement. You can also print out with the specific variable, which is increased by counter, for example, by for loop, and the array will be printed out. And that's pretty much about the arrays. I can show you how to create a string array. So it's pretty much the same. Name, for example. And this. So you can basically create any arrays. String arrays works on the same basis as a string. So this time, for example, if I write a string and the specific index, I have the ability to enter the methods. So for example, name 0 dot, and I will have those methods you can use with strings and with string arrays. So pretty much the string, you have pretty much the same methods as with the string. Length of the array is pretty useful when you do some kind of printouts. For example, you can use length of the array for the for loop. If you don't know, for example, what type of number you have without the specific without the range, because you can do it somehow, I don't remember how, but nevertheless, if you do it something like this, you don't know the size of your, for example, array. Therefore, you can use, instead of this condition, you can use I is less than, and for example, you can assign the number, or you can say I don't know if you can do it with integer, maybe number dot, yeah, you can actually do it with integers as well. So number dot length, and this will allow you to do that many repeats as the length of your array. So even if it's an integer array, as you can see, it's number, not a name. So it's an integer array. You still can use a couple of methods because it's an array. It's like a higher state of a variable. So you are able to use a couple of those methods, like length, which is basically useful, but also a couple of other methods, like you can see hashcode and clone equals and stuff like this. Pretty much most of them will be useless to you, but they're there if you need them. Length is particularly useful if you compare, if you use a for loop, for example, for that matter. Nevertheless, this is how you create arrays and how you use them. My next tutorial will be probably about some classes, how you can create a second, for example, file I have here, for example. And this file, you will connect those two files together. You will use more than one, this is class, more than one class to operate on. So you connect those classes with objects and use different classes and to provide different functionality to your program. So this is also crucial, and that will be in my next tutorial. So this is the end. This concludes the tutorial. As always, visit my webpage and YouTube channel for more tutorials. If you like my videos, subscribe on the channel on all my videos, and I will see you in my next tutorial. As always, take care and bye.